here. I'm back. So I'm here today to do my fall reading video. Books that I hope to tackle in the fall. Later in the month, when I actually finish my reading wrap up, I'm going to do a list video, the list books, but these are just all of the fall themed books that I am hoping to tackle this season. I am very much a seasonal reader. I tend to read mystery thrillers, very, very eerie and creepy things in the fall, and also things that have witches. These are only the physical books that I physically possess that are going to be in this video, and they won't be all of them. They'll just be the ones that I have my eye on. But let's get into it. The first deck is going to be books that I bought recently within the over the summer that just popped, and I was like, oh, I need to read that for the fall. The first one is 14 Ways to Die by Vincent Ralph, and this is a serial killer type story. Jess was 7. Her mother was murdered by a serial killer. This serial killer is still at large, so there's an internet reality show where she's filmed once a week for a whole day. All her social media, every text, all personal are shown to the videos. She knows this is her chance to remind the public of what she lost and finally find the vital clues that will lead to her mother's killer. But when the magpie murderer decides to come after her, drama ensues, I am sure. And these are super quick chapters, and I tend to look for super quick chapter books when I'm heading back to school because I tend to have to get off the train super quickly. So I'm really excited for this one. I picked this one up at Barnes & Noble for $5. So I'm really excited to read this one, and this one will definitely be one that I hope to tackle this fall. Another book that my parents are talking incredibly loud. But the next book that I decided I picked up relatively recently was The Dark Tide by Alicia Janika. This is an arc that I've had for a while, but my friend had a physical copy, and I don't know what happened to my e-arc. I switched over my Kindle because I got a new Kindle, and I lost a couple of my e-arcs, so this is one that I lost. But I don't really need to know enough about it, but the summary made me say ooh, this will be a great fall read. Wicked Deep meets A Curse So Dark and Lonely in this gripping dark fairy tale fantasy about two girls who must choose whether to save themselves, their island, or their sinking island city. This one sounds super fun. I think this cover is really, really pretty, and I hope that I get around to this book soon. Another one is just the one that the title got me, The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry by C.M. Wagner. I really have been liking historical fiction recently, especially Regency romances. So, and again, the summary kind of got me. I think my friend picked this book up too. Sparks fly in this enchanted fantasy now from the other metric when an up and down fire witch and a young gentlewoman join forces against a deadly conspiracy. This one I think would be a great fall read, and I'm really excited for it. Another one I picked up relatively recently was Ghost. The River Has Teeth. This is also from the author of Ghostwood Song, which will be on my TBR as well. I have that physical copy of that. But it's Natasha's sister is missing. And the case grows cold and she gets super angry. She'll do anything to find her sister. But when a girl named Della, she has magic that can provide spells for the desperate. But they both have secrets to hide, but they are sort of forced to work together to uncover what happened to our sister, and there is magic involved. So I'm really excited for this one as well, and I hope that I enjoy it. I also picked up a copy of Eva Evergreen and the Cursed Witch. I really liked the Semi-Magical Witch when I read it last year. This one I think will be just a darker story, and I hope that I really do like it. My friend Tiffany also recommended that I picked up Never Let You Go by Kazu Ishiguro, and this is a mystery thriller that follows 3 students, Kathy, Ruth, and Tommy. They are students at a prestigious boarding school on the English countryside, but then years later their paths cross again when they're trying to uncover what happened to them at that school. It's really, really short. It's not even 300 pages, so I hope that I really like this one and get to read it. Another one that I picked up relatively recently was The Girl in the Headlines by Hannah Jane. This is about a girl named Andrea. She goes to sleep on her 18th birthday. She has the perfect life, a perfect family. She has a boyfriend she loves. But when in the morning she wakes up in a hotel room covered in blood, her parents are found murdered, her brother is missing, and she is the #1 suspect in the case. But she kind of teams up with Nate, a sympathetic boy working at the motel's front desk, to find the real murderer. But the killer is closer than she could ever imagined. And I'm really excited for this one as well. I've never read anything by this actor, but it has one of my favorite tropes. She doesn't remember what happens. And I love tropes like that, so I really hope that I like this one as well. I know Kendra Blake has a new book coming out, which I will definitely be reading, but Anna Dressed in Blood is one of her older ones, and this is more of like a ghost story, and my friend gave this to me for my birthday, so I hope that I get around to reading this as well, because I've heard really good things about it. This one's quite old, but my friend gifted this one to me. Another witchy-themed novel is Witches Steeped in Gold by Sienna Smart. This is the Fairy Loot edition. My friend gifted it to me because she wanted my edition. Heard sort of mixed things about this, but I do try to read more witchy-themed books in the fall, so I hope that I get around to this one as well. And then another one is The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin, and this is another witch story, but this one has to do with like magic that connects to the seasons, and Clara is a little bit different because her magic connects to all the season. That makes her a little bit special, which I'm really excited for this one as well. I've heard some really good things, and the hardback of this book is also super pretty. And then the last physical book that I picked up relatively recently is The Prison Healer by Lynette None. She's working as a healer in a death prison, but the rebel queen lies, and Kiva receives a message, do not let her die, we are coming. And there is elemental magic involved. This is from an Australian author. I'm really excited for this one as well. And I do have to read a book that takes place in prison, so this one might be a good one for that one as well. So those are all the books that I picked up relatively recently. Now let's get into the books that I've had on my TBR for quite a while. Take a collection and just save them. Like, I have 2 bookshelves full of like eerie and creepy reads. So the first book I would love to get to is The Tower Treasure by the Hardy Boys, which is Hardy Boys book 1. I've never read a Hardy Boys book. I've read a couple of Nancy Drew ones, but this one's one that I've had on my TBR for quite a while, so I would like to get around to this one. I will probably toss this in to my reading like children favorites that I've never got around to. This will probably be one that's in that reading blog. Another one I got from Apocary, I think last October, was Horrid by Katrina Leno, and I heard that this one was like a very, very eerie, creepy book that had a mystical house, and I heard that it's just very, very eerie and very, very creepy, and I heard really good things about it, so I would love to get around to this one. I know that Bookables really liked it, and I just never got around to reading it last fall. Hollowpox, the Hunt for Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend is another one that I got from Owl Crate Jr. the last year and just never got around to reading it. This one will probably be featured in another one of my recommendation videos, but I do want to get around to this one as well. And then I've never read a Riley Sager book. I did get this one about, I think, last year from Book of the Month, so I decided to just keep it, and hopefully I will get around to reading it. I've heard mixed things about like his writing style, but people say that this one is their favorite one, and I hope that I like it. I also still have a physical copy. I found this over the summer, Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray. I really did like the first 2 books in this series, and then I just never continued. It is sort of massive. It's like 400 pages, but I do want to keep reading the series because I did like the first 2 books. I heard this book was really good. I heard really mixed things about the last book, but I'm sort of a completist, so I'll probably wind up finishing it. I read another Kara Thomas book this summer, so The Darkest Corners is the first one I ever picked up from her, and this one has to do with a child is kidnapped and they come back, and I like that trope, I think, or like her best friend was kidnapped, and they, you know, but yeah, there's a mystery brewing, and it reminds me a little bit of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, like the premise. But I do like Kara Thomas's writing a lot, and I've had this book for a while. This is another one that's like a little bit eerie and creepy, The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Perner. This takes place in the 18th century in London, and it's a secret apothecary. It looks really, really good, and again, this is not that long. This is only like barely 300 pages, so again, I will definitely hopefully get around to reading this book in the fall. And now let me go show you my other stack. I told you I have a lot of options for the fall. This one I have had on my TBR for so long. Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahoran. I actually do need to get God and Monsters as well, but this one is one that I've just been dragging my feet to read. It's another behemoth, but I did like Serpent and Dove. I know I'm in the minority. I know a lot of people didn't really like that book, but I really enjoyed it, so I will be happy to keep continuing. And this is on my summer TBR, actually, so I need to get around to that soon. How to Disappear by Anne Radice Sampler is a thriller that my dad got me like so long ago, and I've just been holding on to it. But I think like she's, but I think that, yeah, this is more like a mystery thriller, and she has to like go on the run to save herself after she gets herself in sort of a dangerous situation. But I am excited for this one. I've had it for so long. The 10,000 Doors of January is sort of reminds me a little bit of like The Home for Peculiar Children or the Shauna Maguire series, but it's a peculiar house. And I heard really good things. This is by Alexa A. Harrow. I know her new book has gotten some really good praise. My friend actually, who doesn't read at all, read this and really, really liked it. So that made me keep it when I was unhauling because she really liked it and she's sort of picky. And then this is another anthology that I've had really mixed thoughts about anthologies, but this is like specifically a Halloween one, so I will probably try to read it in the month of October. I'll probably read 1 or 2 stories, and this will probably be my commute book for that month because they're pretty quick. Ghostwood Song by Erica Waters. Her newest book I do have on my other TBR, but this is one of her older ones, and I just never get around to this. Saw Kills meets Beautiful Creatures in this lush, eerie debut where the boundary between reality and nightmares is dead. Shady Grove inherited to call ghosts from the grave, but when her brother is accused of murder, she has to actually use this power, and I don't think things go exactly the way she planned, but this cover is really, really pretty. Another one is A Tale of Witchcraft by Chris Colfer. I actually do have the audiobook for this book as well, so I will probably listen to the audiobook because it's read to me by Chris Colfer, and I like his reading style a lot, so I will probably get to listen to this in the fall. But I think the third one is coming out as well. So if I really like that, I'll probably get the third one. I tossed this on here because I do have to read a translated work, and the naming is one of them. I started reading this quite a bit ago, and I just never got into it. It is another behemoth of a book, but before the end of this year, I do need to read a translated work. So this will probably be the one that I'm aware of, unless I can find something else that like is a little bit stronger. Reign of Shadows by Sophie Jordan is a Sleeping Beauty retelling, and I really have enjoyed all of her other books that I've read, and I do have this duology on my shelf. So, and this cover is really, really pretty, and I love retellings. If you guys would like to see a retelling recommendation video, let me know in the comments and I'll do it. Born Wiccan by Jessica Spotswood. This book I've had for so long. Blessed with a Gift, Cursed with a Secret, 3 Exceptional Sisters, 2 Dangerous Choices, 1 Terrible Singress, and not a single person they can trust. I love witches books. Hopefully I get around to reading it. The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab is a book that I bought because I was so excited, and then I actually got it signed. I got this book signed as well, and then I just never read it. So hopefully I get around to reading it as well. I have quite a few V.E. Schwab books on my fantasy TBR, and then one of the last ones in this little section is House of Furies by Madeline Rue, and I really never liked her other books, but this one has to do with like a boarding school, and it intrigued me enough to pick it up. I'm gonna go show you guys like a couple of more reads on my other shelf, and then I'm gonna wrap up this TBR video, and you guys could tell me in the comments any books you think that I haven't read or I haven't in this video that you think I would like. But one more stack for you guys. Older books. Rivera by Ryan LaSala I've had for so long, and this is sort of like I think it was pitched to me because I got this at ALA. It was pitched to me sort of like Inception, which I am all here for. But yeah, it's like imaginary world, and I've heard really good things about this one, and I know his new one I also do have, but that's more like a contemporary. But this is the thriller, and I'm intrigued enough, so I'm gonna try to add this to my TBR as well. But it was sort of like Inception-y. This is The Coldest Girl in Coldhound, and this is like one of her only standalones that I think she writes series, but this is also vampires stories, and if you've followed me for a while, you know I really struggle with vampire stories. I blame Twilight, but I've had this for a really long time. It is signed to me. I would love to read it in the fall, so this might get picked as well. These are just a couple of thrillers. The Deceivers by Kristen Simmons. This is a school for con artists. I think that sounds really interesting. This is from Tortine as well. The Safest Lies by Miranda Can Fear Be Inherited It. I got this a while ago, actually on a date with one of my boyfriends at the time, and he bought it for me. But this is also like her mom is like an agoraphobic, but then like something happens that makes her start to be more fearful like her mother. So this one sounds really interesting. Another book by Megan Miranda is All the Missing Girls. This is another mystery thriller. This is more of an adult thriller. And recently I did pick up El Casamono's adult book, but this is her mystery thriller. And this also is a serial killer, but she can kind of see what the serial killer is going to do, which I'm really excited about. And the last one is by Caleb Roerig, and this is Last Seen Leaving. In the wake of his girlfriend's disappearance, the spotlight is on him. I read White Rabbit, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite, but this one sounds really intriguing as well. So yeah, those are all of like my books I'm going to be picking for my backlist titles, because I have a lot of books coming out this year that I'm just gonna like make when I make my list. I have a couple of e-arcs and stuff, but these are all my physical books that I'm gonna be pulling from for my fall TBR. For me, fall starts like right around the middle of September and goes until like Christmas. That's like my fall. I know my fall is like not calendar right, but you know, that's what my fall is. So I'm excited to read these books and share them with you. Let me know if there's any books in the comments you really want me to read. And maybe I'll do a recommendation video in like early October for you guys, which means I just have to get to reading. But I'll talk to you guys soon for my next video. Bye, friends.